What is the normal reaction for somebody getting flowers, i.e. roses, tulips, maybe even some daisies? There's been plenty of songs written about flowers or just showing emotion. Sometimes they've had good endings and others bad. But let me ask you a question. If you were to be given the gift of flowers the day before your disappearance, would you still look at those flowers the same way you have every other day? Welcome back, everybody, and welcome if it is your first time here on the channel. And today specifically, we're going to talk about a story that's maybe been lost through time. So let's travel back and talk about these mysterious flowers and what they may or may not have hinted to, or how big of a factor they played into this case. Hope you enjoy, and without further ado, let's get into it. So let's go back. The time frame of mid-October 1965. And let's introduce you to a very lively and vibrant woman by the name of Mary Shotwell Little. Now, Mary was from Atlanta. Probably before it was named Atlanta. So I'll stop doing that. We'll stick to Atlanta. Now, on the day of Mary's disappearance, Mary had planned a casual dinner outing with a friend at Lenox Square. But when she failed to show up for work the next day, concern rippled through her workplace. Reports emerged of strange phone calls and unsettling encounters with a stranger. This stranger had gifted her flowers. Her card, discovered at the mall, bore signs of peculiar activity. Coated with red dust and containing her abandoned panties on the floorboard. It had been driven a considerable distance of 41 miles, adding to the mystery. So when all this took place, you have to remember, back in the 60s, they didn't really have anything scientifically like we have now. DNA was not even a thought. It was old-fashioned 50s, 60s, 70s even, police work and theories. You see how well the 70s worked out for serial killers, and that's because police work was just a little behind. The news swiftly ignited panic as newspapers and TV broadcasts heightened public alarm. The Atlanta police and FBI mobilized their top investigators to unravel the perplexing case. Weeks passed without any significant breakthroughs until a crucial lead emerged. Mary's gas credit card had been utilized in Raleigh and in Charlotte, prompting APD's lead detective, Lieutenant Jack Perry, to journey to North Carolina. At the gas station in both cities, attendants recalled encountering a distressed young woman accompanied by two men, exhibiting signs of injury and reluctance to exit the vehicle. Despite diligent efforts, Lieutenant Perry encountered dead ends in his search for Mary. So you have to also remember too, back in the 60s, or any time before the digital age really, think about how they used to run credit cards. Do you remember seeing like those old videos or old movies, and they have, the old machine that's real big right there, and they put the credit card on this piece of paper, and right, and maybe in a week or two, possibly even a month, that they would go and send it off, and then it would be reported. So you have to think, like, let's just say they were quick. and it was a week from the time that it was used until the time it was reported. Well, that's still a week. You have to think, like, up until this point, she left from Atlanta and now was in North Carolina. That's 2 states. And if you add another week, a full week. And if they're like trying to get away, dude, a full week, you can be in California. You can be in Canada, New York. Especially back then, there was no CCTV or anything like that. The case languished until 18 months later when another chilling development emerged. Mary's friend, Diane Shields, was discovered murdered, her lifeless body stuffed in a car trunk in East Point. Both women had been employed at the same bank and shared common roommates, reigniting the widespread panic and fear. However, no arrests were made in connection with either case, leaving the community gripped by uncertainty. Over 5 decades had elapsed, yet the mysteries surrounding both cases remain unsolved, casting a shadow over the enduring quest for justice. Again, anything that might have been able to use even today that was DNA related, when it was collected, it wasn't handled properly, and the ones that could have been significant weren't deemed significant back then. So the chances of this actually being solved without someone coming forward, or somebody being told by a grandparent or a parent or great-grandparent on their deathbed, it's highly unlikely. Efforts to locate Mary were bolstered by a $1,000 reward offered by the Citizen and Southern National Bank. The reward, announced through various channels, emphasizes Mary's physical description and distinctive items associated with her, urging anyone with pertinent information to come forward before February 1st of 1966. Now think about that. That's like 6 months. Mind you, the Citizen and Southern National Bank is the same bank that both women worked at, but still, 6 months. And yes, it was the 60s, and yes, $1,000 may have been a lot back then, but do you really think that even back then someone was going to turn themselves in or get caught on purpose, or even want to deal with the police at that point for something that was this widespread? Rewards can be good, but not always. As investigators delved deeper into the perplexing case, they encountered puzzling inconsistencies. The FBI's liaison, Jim Ponder, joined forces with local law enforcement, grappling with baffling clues that defied conventional explanation. Mary's abandoned car, meticulously examined by crime technicians. Again, crime technicians back in the 60s. Not necessarily the same in today's. It's 50, almost 60 years old. Revealed traces of red dust, bloodstains, and a disarray of personal belongings. Despite the gruesome scene, suspicions arose regarding the authenticity of the evidence, prompting scrutiny from seasoned investigators. Again, police work back in the 60s. Nobody trusted each other. There wasn't a nationwide database. Nobody liked sharing information. Everybody was in it for themselves. They wanted to be the big name in the newspaper that caught the criminal. And forensic evidence, I don't even think they really used that term back then. But I don't have a time machine, so I don't know for sure. In response to Mary's disappearance, an unprecedented search effort was launched, enlisting thousands of volunteers across Atlanta. Pilots scoured the landscape from above, while ground teams combed through wooded areas and remote locations. The community rallied behind the cause, spurred by the urgency to unravel the mystery. However, despite exhaustive efforts, Mary remained unfound, and hopes for her safe return dwindled. Months turned into years, with leads evaporating and the case growing colder, despite desperate measures, including consultations with psychics. Authorities struggled to unravel vital clues. The grim anniversary of Mary's disappearance passed without resolution, underscoring the elusive nature of the investigation. This case, though may be cold and still mysterious, I highly doubt that this is high on Atlanta PD's cold case docket. As it says, it sounds, I don't see APD putting resources or even time and money towards it because of the small percentage that it's actually even going to be solved. Now, we all pray one day that mysteries like this can be, and there have been a few in the past in which I will be covering soon that have taken 50, 60, 70 years to be solved. But at the same time, it just seems like this was just completely mishandled. It's sad that something so sought after by women, even today, such as a simple bouquet of flowers, was associated with the disappearance of such a vibrant woman. You have to think, what in your day-to-day life could you go without? And what do you ask for the most that if you ever received and then disappeared, would you have asked for it if you could go back? Thanks again for joining us, guys. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday and Thursday. I will be posting constantly. Thank you for all the support as we're getting closer to 8,000 subscribers. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you thinking that I'm worth your time. Again, make sure to comment what you thought of the video below. Like and subscribe. Till next time. Deuce.